Have you ever had a small situation suddenly make you feel huge emotions? Maybe someone cut you off in traffic, or a friend said something, right, that stung more than it technically should have, right? These reactions are what we call triggers, and they are one of the most powerful ways that our shadow selves reveals itself to us. So triggers is not actually about anything happening in the present moment, right? It is something when your outer world activates some wound that exists on your inside, right? So it's like pressing on a hidden bruise. Imagine breaking your shoulder, right? And you wearing a jacket. You've kind of mostly forgotten that your shoulder was broken, right? It's fine. You've got it, it's okay. And then suddenly somebody comes around and they slap you on the shoulder and like, hey, how you doing? And you just explode on them. You lose your freaking mind. You're like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why would you even do that, right? They don't know why this is happening. And you are getting a much larger reaction, right, than what was technically called for. You know what I mean? And that is how triggers operate. So it's like pressing a hidden bruise. The reaction is much bigger than the situation calls for. And this is why triggers feel so overwhelming, right? Because they're not just about now, something is happening now, they're also about then, right? Like, for example, you find yourself in a situation where something happens, and yes, it sucks. For example, maybe you are playing, basketball with a new group of people, and you don't get like in that first 4 or 5 picks, and suddenly it just hits you, man, and it like sucks, and you're so depressed about it. And the reaction you experience is so large, but when in reality, it's just people don't know you yet, so they kind of gonna pick you somewhere around loss. So if you thought about it logically, it wouldn't hurt, but now it hurts suddenly, right? And that's triggers. It's something that has happened in the past that is getting poked at this very moment without anybody knowing about it. And the scary thing about triggers is if you don't do your shadow work, you don't know you have them. And you don't know what they are. So these things just happen out of nowhere. Now, trigger as, windows into your shadow. We can use triggers actually as tools, right? So triggers are bad. Let me just say that. Triggers are bad. But your shadow is the part of you that kind of holds that pain or the shame or memories, right, that you pushed away to survive. Triggers are how the shadow technically tells you, listen, I'm still here, okay? Please notice me, I actually still have to heal. So triggers, even though in the moment we think they are bad because they make us do things or say things that we don't want to, they're actually really, really good. They are a map that we can follow to unhealed places within ourselves. So triggers, get it out of our brains, it's not bad. Triggers are good. It is a map that helps us to find our way back. So instead of seeing them as an enemy, try to see them as sacred messengers that's trying to point you to X marks the spot. This is where we still need to heal, right? Now, when you feel triggered, let's talk about how you deal with the trigger. If you are being honest with yourself, and that's the point behind shadow work, right, is you go into a situation, something happens, and you go, what the actual hell? And suddenly you just go, whoa, that was not necessary. I didn't have to, react that large. And that is shadow work, right? Going and saying, whoa, that's not normal. Okay, my response just now, something is not wrong. Something has gone wrong, right? And when you feel triggered, you have to take a pause and just take a breath, right? And instead of reacting outwardly, exploding on something, someone, or some situation, take a moment and focus it inward and just go, whoa, why am I feeling this right now? What is happening in here that's causing me to feel what I'm feeling? And where in my body do I feel it? Right? Is it like in my chest, I'm feeling this panicky feeling, or something, or do I feel like this heat coming up in my neck? Right? If you've ever been really angry, you'll know this one. It's like you feel this whole body and they vibrate, and you feel this heat right here. And does it remind you of something from your past? Like did this thing that just happened, this situation, and a trigger that happened, did it actually just remind you of something that has happened before? And you've got to take that time to just pause. And something you can do that a lot of us don't do, because a lot of times when we hit a trigger, we're not in a situation where we can literally stop and tell everybody, whoa, cut on life, I need to first evaluate myself. Write it down. Even if you have a pen and you just write something on your hand, right? Anything you can to remind you that you need to come back and you need to revisit this. And then often, the present moment is pulling on an old wound, often caused by rejection, abandonment, betrayal, or, and this is one that hits a lot of people from my generation, because as kids, this is kind of how we were treated, unseen. You are not being heard. You are not being seen. You are not important enough for people to take a break and to actually listen and to see you. And that sucks. So it could be things like that. Now, why does it matter to do these things? Well, you want to be a complete human being, right? The purpose of going through an awakening is, a lot of people would say, it's to find enlightenment, to become the spiritual person. For me, I think the purpose of enlightenment or awakening is first to become a human being again, to remember what it means to be a human, right? And this means to be a complete human. In other words, we need to do this work. We need to find our triggers. We need to find the shadow self that's, busy killing us, and we need to heal them and integrate them. So when we bring awareness to our triggers, we kind of reclaim our power over them, right? Instead of being controlled by some unconscious wound, something that is outside of ourselves that we have no control over, we can start to heal them. And over time, this can transform things like our relationships, emotions, and the way we walk in this world, the way we actually carry ourselves in this world. So this is a challenge, maybe try and do this. The next time you're triggered, see it as a doorway, see it as a window, a chance to go and actually meet your shadow, right? A chance to heal. So when we hit triggers, remember, it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. It is trying to show us something in the shadow that needs healing. So try and take that moment, meet your shadow, try and heal it. So in the next Solar Arcana video, I'll be guiding you through a meditation where we will work with a trigger directly and transform its energy from bad and negative into wisdom and healing. And once we've done that, you can redo that meditation multiple times until you've eventually found all of your own triggers. Okay, so that's going to be it from me. Thank you very much for listening. So I'm gonna see you in the next one when we do, when we do the meditation. So thank you very much and good luck. Bye bye.